Hey, she time for one of them corn crib confessions. Hey, buddy of mine up in Nicholasville, Kentucky, old Justin Jasper, he all the time asking for these things, but he never does tell me what he wants me to talk about. I reckon he just wants to hear me get on here and rant and rave, so I'm on to oblige old boy this morning. Hey, look here, there's something been on my mind. I had a conversation last night with a good friend of mine, and me and another friend, we'd talked about it over the weekend. Companionship. You know, it kind of aggravates me a little bit. I ain't gonna lie about it, but I post anything and everything. I share a bunch of stuff, a lot of quotes. And I was a grandchild when I was coming up. Grandmother would get them Reader's Digest, and I was the one that would flip page by page looking for them little old quotes. I always loved quotes. Little old tidbits, words of wisdom. And a lot of them stuck with me over the years. But sometimes I'll post things that I'm going through. Sometimes I'll post something that might be aimed at an individual, or sometimes I'll just post shit because I like it. But here's what kind of gets under my skin, just a little bit. I ain't pointing no fingers, but you know, some of y'all seem a little distraught that I'm single. And I reckon some of you think that I'm posting the stuff there, counting down and out. Well, let me promise you something. I'm happy with myself. I'm good to go. It don't matter if you're single or if you're married or hell if you got a whole harem of women folk. You're gonna have days when you don't feel too much good. And I have my days just like everybody does. But, you know, here's the thing. A lot of folks this day and time, they think they got to have somebody in their life that's got to be by their side. And while that is very nice, you know, it's good to have a companion. You know, a lot of folks don't talk about it, but you know, it's a blessing to be alone too. And if you don't believe me, you can look back in the Bible. The Bible even tells you it's a blessing. Like grandmother always said, you can find good in any bad, and that's a fact. You know, John the Baptist, he went through life alone. The Apostle Paul, he went through life alone. Being alone is not a bad thing. But here's one thing that I dealt with, and I know several folks right now that's dealing with the same thing, and I know it on account of they talk to me about it. But here's one thing. You know, it don't matter if you white, you black, yellow, pink, it don't matter, purple, don't matter if you're rich, if you poor, you know, whether you come from right downtown New York City or from some little old podunk town here in the deep south, it don't matter. We all got one thing in common. The very second that we come out of our mother's womb, every one of us is starting on a journey. And that journey's going to end with the grave. Whether you like it or not, it's just the way it goes, and it's what's going to happen. And there's one thing about it, from the time you come out of the womb until you reach your destination, you're going to be traveling with one person and one person alone. Folks is going to come in your life, folks is going to leave your life. Some will stay for a season, some will stay right to the very end, but the fact of the matter is that one person that is guaranteed to be there with you is yourself. And you need to get yourself right with yourself. You need to learn to love yourself. You know, you got your parents when you're coming up, and you fool around, and you fall in love, and you go to courting some little old gal or little old boy or whatever, and you fool around, and you tie the knot, and you spend, years together, and you think your life's in order, and there ain't nothing guaranteed in life. But you think it's in order, and it ain't in order. And everything goes south, just like it did with me. When that happens, we don't take enough time to find ourselves. We're too busy to get back into a routine. Well, I promise you one thing, if you'll take the time, and it's no easy chore to do, but if you take the time to find yourself, you realize life's a whole lot better. And when you truly find yourself and you figure out that you can live alone, and you can be happy and you can be content with yourself, that's when you start realizing your worth. And here's a little bit of word of advice to a lot of y'all out here. Some of y'all's good friends of mine, and I've told some of you face to face, there's some good folks out here that y'all selling yourselves short. Y'all going a dime on a dollar when you ought to be getting, a dollar for a dollar. Don't do that shit just to settle. Don't do that nonsense just for companionship, because I'm going to tell you something. You get your house set in order, and you might have to change a lot of your ways, but once you can be comfortable with yourself day in and day out, that's when you start realizing your worth. And when you realize your worth, you go getting a lot more particular in what kind of company you keep, especially the ones you want to keep in your life from here on out. So, all y'all out there struggling, think you need that companionship, you don't need it. And it's not a curse not to have it. It can be a blessing all in its own. My advice is, it ain't going to happen overnight. It ain't going to happen in a couple of days, weeks. Might not even happen in months. It might take a year or two. But the best thing you can do is find yourself. Like I said, you go into the grave with yourself. Nobody else is going with you. Tide and their time waits on no man. So you can keep wandering around day in, day out, going down these dead-end avenues, selling yourself short and not gaining a thing out of life. Or you can take a little time off, get with yourself, get right, and realize that you bring value to the game and hold to it. So that's what's been on my mind, and I hope it helps some of you out. Every one of us, we're traveling the same road, and it don't hurt to slow up and stop, help a neighbor or brother or sister get out of that ditch and get them back on their feet. Boy, life, she sure ain't no easy chore, I guarantee you that. I got to get off here. Y'all have a lovely day. I love you, and I mean it. Yes, I do, baby.